What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, I recently talked about the 6 teams that could potentially have some interest in a trade acquisition for Zach LaVine. And of course, you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Every single season, without fail, there's always that one team that gets reported that really wants Zach LaVine, and it's the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I purposely did not mention Zach LaVine to the Lakers beforehand just because I really don't know which way that could go. I don't know if the Lakers are genuinely interested, and I don't know if the Bulls are genuinely interested in trading with the Lakers. I really have no idea. But of course, every offseason, it's always the Lakers. I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to see the Lakers go after DeRozan, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, heck, they're going to list every single Bulls player. Every single player in the NBA is going to be linked to the Los Angeles Lakers at one point and another. That's of course no fault to the Lakers fans, but you know, the media, they have to draw their attention on the bigger teams, on the teams that have the bigger publicity, and that is the LA Lakers. So the Bulls are going to suffer sometimes from that. So, article from Yahoo Sports suggests, I guess, a trade proposal that could send Zach LaVine to the LA Lakers for 3 Los Angeles Lakers players. I'm going to discuss this trade, what I like and what I don't like about this trade, and the players involved in this video. Stay tuned. Look, the draft situation, you know, the finding out where we are, that's going to be tomorrow. We could get back to news then. You know, it's awfully quiet around the Bulls thus far, so I want to start talking about trade proposals and stuff of that nature. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, this Yahoo Sports article, and again, just discussing the trade proposal. Now, I'm not going to read the entire article because I want to give my opinion on this situation, but I'm going to give you the trade situation that would, I guess, apply for this. So, in this trade, it suggests that the Chicago Bulls should be sending Zach LaVine to the Los Angeles Lakers. And in return, you get D'Angelo Russell, you get Gabe Vincent, and you get Jared Vanderbilt. 3 very interesting players. 3 players that, look, my perception has changed on some of them. It changed in general with the Lakers. But not everything has changed, essentially. So, 3 for the price of 1. You look at that trade, and I think a lot of people will say, you know what? That's not that bad of a trade. You get a point guard in D'Angelo Russell that's had a better season this season compared to previous. You get Gabe Vincent, a solid role player. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, is Gabe Vincent not from Chicago? I could be wrong on that. I might have to search that up later. But look, I'm assuming if he is, that he's going to be a fan favorite, but I have no idea. You get Jared Vanderbilt, the strongly needed defensive-minded forward that we absolutely desperately need. It doesn't look bad on paper at all. But I look at the Lakers and I look at the Bulls. I see 2 teams in desperate need of change. And that's the only reason why I see this linked to each other, to be honest. It's the only reason why I see these situations linked. But here's what I'll say about each and every single one of those players. We'll start off with the Lakers because those are the players that are coming to the Bulls, essentially, if this trade was to go through. Let's start off with D'Lo. D'Lo is a player that I've said for ages I do not want on the Chicago Bulls team. Not because I don't think he's talented, not because I don't think he can bring something to the Bulls. It's just because I don't necessarily think he's the right profile of player. And as much as he's done really well this season, and in many ways I've changed my mind on D'Angelo Russell, there are still major problems that I feel we would have if he would come to the Chicago Bulls. There's a reason why I think Minnesota of this season is better to the Minnesota of previous seasons. And I do think a big factor in that is that D'Lo is no longer on that team. Again, I've watched videos about this. I've searched the Minnesota Timberwolves team about this. And the reason why I think personally Minnesota struggled so long with D'Lo on that team is because there just seemed like the team play stopped when he was on the court. When the ball fell in his hands, the ball movement stopped. He was a ball stopper, essentially. You know, everything stops when the ball goes into D'Lo's hands. It's very similar to, you can make the argument of DeMar DeRozan on this team. When the ball goes into DeMar DeRozan's hands, the ball movement stops, the player movement stops, and it's DeMar DeRozan time, essentially. And that's kind of how you feel with D'Angelo Russell. But in saying that, that was a long time ago. That was, what, 2-3 seasons ago now? This D'Angelo Russell could be something different. D'Lo this season has erupted in many ways. But When the going got tough in the NBA playoffs, I don't think D'Lo showed up in the way that he should have. He's the third option for the LA Lakers and that team. And I think a third option is well needed for the Lakers. And he is a good third option. But when the going got tough in the NBA playoffs, I don't think he showed up. And I think a lot of LA Lakers players did not show up to the table there. So that's my worries with D'Lo. If you get D'Lo, in my opinion at least, that is a sign that you want to compete again. Because he's at the age bracket where he wants to compete. He's a solid player. And you're getting a solid player in return for a player that doesn't want to be here. So in all those ways, that does work. But there's still going to be problems. And you need to build around D'Lo to fix those problems. That's as simple as it gets. So that's the biggest problems I have with D'Lo coming to the Bulls. It's not that I don't think he's talented. I wouldn't cry my eyes out if he came here, by the way. I would still be willing to give him that chance to prove himself. We've seen him on some... we've seen him have great seasons with the Brooklyn Nets. He's had a couple good seasons with the Lakers. You know, he's had good seasons in the past. It's not like he's incapable of playing good basketball. I'm just saying that there is problems there that I hope does not come to the Bulls if we do get a guy like D'Lo. Gabe Vincent, I don't have too much to say. I think he's been injured for the majority of the season for the Lakers. He played well for the Heat when he was there. Good role player, can shoot the ball. You know, that's an okay player. I'm not desperately upset about that. But Jared Vanderbilt is where my alarm bells start to ring, ladies and gentlemen, because I think he's a player that I would love on this Bulls team. He started to develop a little bit of a three-point shot, which is absolutely what we need as well. But the defensive nature and the size that he brings to this team would be very, very helpful. He's definitely a defensive-minded center. I think he's one of the Lakers' best defenders that they have, and he's a very good role player to have on your team. And look, if we're trying to compete, there are gaps in this team that need to be filled. Three-point shooting is a gap that we need to be filled. Size from the forward positions is a gap that needs to be filled. Patrick Williams is our only sizable forward that we have on this team at 6'8", I believe, or 6'7". I don't know what he is. Vanderbilt makes it a different game for the Chicago Bulls. Starting or coming off the bench. He could be a small five as well if we want to play him in that way, but he could be a phenomenal forward help on the defensive end. And that is an area that we do need fulfilled. So this is not the worst trade I've ever heard, for example. I've heard really bad trades for the Lakers. Really, really, really bad trades for the Lakers. This is not the worst thing I've ever heard. We're sending one player in the price of 3. You're getting good role players back that can help us compete. You're getting D'Angelo Russell that can score. So you're getting rid of a scorer to get a scorer. It's not the worst thing ever. But the reason why I'm not a big fan of this is that you're getting a player to hinder Kobe White's development, in my opinion. You don't start D'Lo and Kobe White together. I just don't see that happening, in all honesty. Because then you're going to have to either bench Caruso or Io or any sort of defensive-minded guard that could maybe help in that category. And I don't want to pull Kobe White to the bench so quickly after his breakout season either. So that's a big problem with that trade. And also, there's a player that I really want from the Lakers that is not involved in this trade, and that is Austin Reeves. I want Austin Reeves. I'd be willing to give up. I'd pretty much get rid of any of those players to get an Austin Reeves on this team. Now, Austin Reeves has not been phenomenal, especially in the playoffs. He went missing for a bit as well. But again, he has the offensive repertoire, in my opinion, to improve, and his contract is so good, and it allows us as a team to work around and help, I guess, build the team with an Austin Reeves and a Kobe White and a DeMar DeRozan and anybody else. So there's problems with that trade. It's not my first choice. But again, both teams are desperate for changes. And at some points, we may be out of options. So if this trade was the only trade that could ever happen for the Bulls, it's only the Lakers interested, and they're desperately wanting that superstar to go and pair up with LeBron for one more run, would I take this trade? Yes, I would. I would. It hurts me to say because 6 months ago, I was desperately not wanting this trade. But like I said, I don't want players that do not want to be here. And if this is the only trade on the block that we can do, I would pull the trigger on it because you get players that can help. You don't get that 2029 first round pick, which will take 5 years to activate. You get a defensive-minded forward. You get a player that can score, even if he has his problems. You get a good role player in return. Not a bad trade whatsoever. Still not my first choice, though. You know, it'd be a hard pill to swallow if that was the trade that we go and accept. But if that's the last one on the table, Why not? Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.